I'm making a circle dress with a goddess at the hemline, and it has a balloon sleeve and there's elastic at the hem of the sleeve. So I'm making use of 5 yards of fabric because the client I'm sewing for is a plus size lady, and she always like to buy extra yards so that whatever she wants will be enough. So she came with 5 yards. So if it remains, it's okay because of the goddess at the bottom of the dress. So I have folded the fabric into 4. So I went ahead and folded it in triangular form. That's bias form, as you see on the table. And this fabric is non-stretch fabric. So I want to illustrate to you with a paper how I folded the fabric. You can see that I pinned it down because the fabric is a bit disturbed. I'm going to hold the edge of the paper like this. Let's say this is the yard line, and then this is the 60 inches by length. It's 5 yards by 60 inches. So I'm going to hold the edge of the fabric like so and fold it like this. And this is 1, and I folded 2 of these together. That is the front and the back piece. So let's now impute the measurement. So guys, after folding, I'll go ahead and take the measurements. And this is the wrong side facing up. I folded the good side inward. So the first thing to do is to mark the shoulder line. So the shoulder I'm working with is 19 inches divided by 2 is 9.5. So I'll find where 9.5 will sit, and I'll add 1 inch for allowance. So 9.5 plus 1 inch is 10.5. So I'll find the 10.5 here. I have to be sure if it's online. So I'll come to the tip here and measure what I have here so that I can get it straight. So I take my ruler and rule the line straight here. So that's half of the shoulder measurement. So the next thing to do is to mark the chest line, and it's 10 inches. I'm going to rule a line. So the next thing to do is to mark the shoulder measurement. That's 9.5 here. And on the bust line, I mark quarter of the bust measurements plus 3 inches. The bust is 45 inches divided by 4 is 11.2 plus 3 inches because it's going to be a free gown because it's a flared dress. So the next thing to do is to connect from the shoulder line straight to the bust point. And on the shoulder line, I'll come down by 1 inch for the shoulder slope. So the next thing to do is to create the neck line. So I'm taking 3.5 inches for the neck width. That's for the back first, and then 1.5 inch for the depth of the back neckline, and I'll connect it like this. I'm taking 4 inches for the front neck depth, and the width is going to remain the same, 3.5 inches, and I'll connect with my curve ruler. So next, from the neck point, I'll mark a straight line for the shoulder slope from the neck point to the 1 inch below the shoulder line. So guys, hope is clear. Next is to mark 1/2 inch on the shoulder line for the joining allowance. Now it's time to create the armhole curve, and to do that, you measure from this point on this 1 inch point. You measure whatever you have here, you divide it by 2. So I got 8.75. So divided by 2 is 4.3. And on this midpoint, I'll come in by ½ an inch. That's for the front armhole, because the front armhole is deeper than the back armhole. So I'll come in by ½ an inch. So I'll be creating the front and the back armhole curve. So I'll start with the back one. From this midpoint, I'll connect all the way to meet the bust line. So this is the back armhole curve. Now I'm going to create the front armhole curve. So this is the back armhole curve and this is the front armhole curve. So the next thing to do is to mark the length of the dress. And as you know, this dress has two parts. From the shoulder to where the gathers will start from is 34 inches. 34 inches, and I'm adding ½ an inch to join to the gathers down. So on this line, I'll be marking 34.5 inches. 34 inches plus ½ inch for the joining allowance. So I'll mark 34.5 inches. And I'll be marking it across. I finished marking the line down. Hope the line is visible. So the next thing to do is to connect from this bust point here all the way to the hemline to meet the mark. But if you want the down part fuller, you can connect from here to the edge of the line I marked. But in this case, my client don't want it that big. She don't want it that full. So I'll connect with my long ruler from this bust point here to meet the line down. So guys, this is it. The body of the flare top is ready. The next thing to do is to cut it out. And I'm going to be cutting the back neckline first before cutting the front neckline. So let me cut it out. So I'm cutting from the bottom here. Now we're cutting the back armhole first. The first part of our dress is ready. I'll be pulling this and I'll be taking the back one out and cut the front neckline. Next, I'll be cutting the front neckline. So we are going to slit the back piece. So I'm going to lay it down like this. I'll turn it to the wrong side like this. So I'm going to split it with 5.5 inches. And we are going to design the back a little bit like this. That's what my client wants. And there's going to be one button here. So this is the back piece. I'm going to cut a facing for the back piece. And here I will pipe this circle here. This is the front piece. This is the front neck. And I'm going to cut facing for the front neck. So the next thing we are going to do now is to determine the length of the gathers down and then the width. The width is going to be 15 together with the joining allowance and the hemming allowance. So to know the length you use, you measure all the bottom parts to know how much gathers you need for the down. You measure all the bottom parts. You measure all round to know how much gathers you need. So all around the bottom part is 78 inches. So you are going to cut 78 times 2 for the front piece and then 78 times 2 for the back piece. So I'm going to cut it and come back and show you. So guys, I forgot to trim up the front piece armhole, but I don't want to do it behind camera, so I want to do it together with you. So I'm trimming the front piece armhole. So I went ahead and cut the gathers for the bottom part. So I times it by 2 and I added 17 inches. So the gathers is 173 inches in length and then 15 inches. So this is the front piece. So I'll be running a gather stitch. So it will join the bottom part like this. The goddess will be in the bottom like this. I will run a goddess stitch on both the pieces, the two pieces for the front and the back piece. So the next thing to do now is to cut the sleeves. So this is the piece for the sleeve, the fabric for the sleeve, and it's a balloon sleeves. The bottom is going to have an elastic. So I folded my fabric into 4. The bottom is going to be wider so that it can give that puffy effect at the bottom. So I'm marking my starting line. This is my starting line, and the length of the sleeve together with the folding for the elastic is 23 inches. You don't want it that long. So the sleeve is 22 inches and the folding for the elastic is 1 inch. So it's 23 inches in all. 22 inches for the length of the sleeve and 1 inch for the elastic. And then half an inch for joining on the shoulder. So in all it's 23.5 inches. So from this line, I'm going to take the sleeve length together with the elastic and the joining allowance. So in all it's 23.5 inches. So I'm at 23.5 inches here. I'll do a straight line. This is the sleeve length. So the next thing to do now is to mark the biceps. That's the cap height. And I'm taking 5 inches for the cap height. And I'm going to mark it through and draw a straight line. So on this biceps line, I'll be taking half of her across armhole measurement. And around her armhole measurement is 19 inches. So 19 inches divided by 2 is 9.5 inches. So I mark 9.5 inches here. And I'm going to connect from here to the folded points here with a straight line. Next, I'll be dividing this line in half. That's 10.5 I got here. Divided by 2 is 5.2. And on that 5.2, I'm going to go up by 7.5 inch. And I'll use my curve ruler to connect from this point to the starting point here. And I'm going to draw a straight line from this point to the around armhole point here. So coming from this point here, I'm going to draw a curved line to meet this. So this is it. I'll turn my ruler back again and connect from this point to this shoulder point here. This first line is the back armhole and this second line is the front armhole. So the next thing to do is to add 2 inches sewing allowance here because my client always wants more allowance inside her clothes. So from this point here, I'm going to connect the line straight to meet the end of the sleeve here. I wanted to fold it in bias form, but the fabric will not be enough. That's why I decided to cut it this way. So I'll cut it out now. Cutting the back first. So I'm going to notch the center point here. So next I'll open the sleeve to trim off the front armhole. So our sleeve is ready. So the next thing to do is to start joining all the pieces. I'm starting with the upper part of the dress. So I decide to pipe all the neck. I cut pieces of bias with the fabric and I'm going to use it to pipe the neck of the front and then also pipe the neck for the back. Then after, I'm going to join the two shoulders together. After, I'll take my sleeve and turn it to the wrong side of the fabric and then sew straight down to the edge to lock the edge of the sleeve. I will do the same to the other piece. Then after, I'll fold the bottom of the goddess for the dress. I'll fold it with 1/4 inch. Fold it like so. Fold all the bottom of the goddess and then run a goddess stitch on the upper side of the fabric. I run a goddess stitch and I'm going to do the same to the second piece. Then come back and show you the next thing to do. So lovelies, This is our circle flare dress. This is the upper part of the dress. And as you can see, I've piped all the neckline. And also, you see the back. Let me open it for you to see how it looks. You see, this is what my client wants. She wants this small hole at the back. So this is it. This is the upper part of the dress. So next, I have the gathers. I have already cut the gathers and I run the gather stitch. So this is the gathers. I'll be attaching the gathers at the lower part of the dress. So I'll do it to the front piece, and also this is for the back piece. So the next thing is I've already cut out the sleeves, and then I finish one like this, and I put the elastic in. Now before I'll stitch the elastic on my machine. So this is it. So this is the second sleeve. I want to show you guys how I put the elastic inside. You see, I folded 1 inch in the bottom of the sleeves, and then I left a small opening here where I passed the elastic through with a pin. So this is the elastic I use. So I pass it through with this safety pin, like so. So I'll pass the elastic through it, then go and join the gathers at the down parts of the dress, then fix the sleeves, then come and show you the finishing look. So guys, this is the outcome of our dress, our flat circle dress. Look how beautiful it's looking. This is our sleeve, and this is the back. I fixed one button at the back. So I'll be putting it on the mannequin to see the finishing look. So we have come to the end of our video. If you find this video useful and you love it, please give it a huge thumbs up. Also share with your friends and your soulmates, and also comment. And if you have any questions to ask me, please, I'll be available anytime to answer your questions. Thank you for watching, and don't miss out on my next video. Bye.